Good day, everybody. This is Freedom Friday with the Wholesale Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Training number 121 on, again, Freedom Friday. And Freedom Friday is the greatest day that there is because it is leading into the climax of the strong session that we begin with New Op Day. And the first thing that I'd like to do is apologize very quickly for you for missing this past New Op Days hangout here. But I'm going to apologize to you because we said that we were going to be here and we weren't. But I don't have any regret, or I'm not going to, fret over the fact that we weren't here, because in reality, the fact that we weren't here sort of solidifies the reason behind why we do wholesale real estate and why you're interested in wholesale real estate, so that we can have Freedom Friday, so that we can have freedom every day, so that we can have financial freedom, so that we can have more in this life. And that's what we all want. We all want more out of this life. And the way to have more, obviously, is to, achieve the American dream, which is financial freedom. But the American reality is more like financial slavery, because in a certain way, we all really are slaves to the dollar. We have to perform in order to get them. And we really do need them. I mean, because if you don't have them, what are you doing? You're standing out on the corner with a sign trying to get them. And it's very, very difficult in this lifetime to achieve financial freedom today, mainly because we don't know how. We're never taught financial freedom strategies in our lifetime, because the people who have taught us the things that we know, they didn't have financial freedom. They didn't know how to get financial freedom. So how can they teach you how to get financial freedom? There was no courses in high school called Financial Freedom 101. There was no college curriculum on how to become financially free in 3 years or less. If there was, I would imagine that not only would all of us be wanting to take these courses and study this curriculum, but they would probably be, a mandatory course. I forget what they call those, the ones that you have to take. But anyway, like I said, those courses aren't offered. Those trainings, that education, is not offered in the public school systems, nor is it in the private school systems. It's not in the colleges. It's not anywhere that we traditionally go to gather our education from. And what do we gather from our traditional educational system, besides just a bunch of facts? That are they even really facts? Who knows? Because who wrote the book that we're getting the facts out of? You have to really be careful of who you listen to. So all your life, you've been listening to your teachers, your parents, your educators, your clergy, your media, your politicians, all these people that have been, telling you this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. And now you believe that's how it is. What else are you supposed to believe? That's all you know. That's all you can believe. There is these funny little things. They're usually kind of rectangular shaped, and they have a lot of words in them. They're called books. And there are a lot of very, very knowledgeable people from the past. You can go way back, turn of the century. And the education and the knowledge that's in some of the books that was written way back when is still 100% applicable today in the areas of success and financial freedom. And I'll tell you what, this right here is a great book to start with, The Magic of Thinking Big, because it is a real nice overview of just the power behind you thinking in a different way. And what I mean by thinking in a different way is, especially one thing in there that I just really like, is that nobody ever does, is to create your life in your mind on paper, right? Because you got to write this stuff down. You want to go out and get yourself a big old fat notebook like this and title it on the front, financial freedom journey. And the very first thing you want to start out doing is to create your life in your mind 10 years from today. And you want to use the title of this book, Magic of Thinking Big, and you want to create that life not from a perspective of where you are now and where you think you might be able to get, but from a perspective of who cares about where I am now? This is what I want in life. This is where I want to be. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to have. These are what I want. These are the things I want to be doing. And don't worry about anything. Don't even think about how it could possibly happen. Forget that. Forget the how. Just create it. That's the very first step. You have to create it. If you never create it, there's no way you could potentially ever get it. If you had never seen a map of the United States and didn't even know that, you lived in California, didn't even know that Florida existed, and somebody told you about this great place, and you said, wow, I'm going to go there, and you got in the car and started driving, do you think you might ever get to Florida? Maybe. You might end up in Canada or Mexico or New York. Who knows? You might never get as far as, I'm just saying, you don't have a direction. You don't have, if somebody told you all about this great stuff in Florida, you had this vision, this is where I want to go, even though you've never seen a map in your life, you would know when you're not there. And then you would eventually work your way closer to it. So creating this vision of yourself way off in the future of everything that you want, without doubt, without worry, without thinking about how it could ever happen, without wondering where the money's going to come from, without any of those thoughts whatsoever, just build it. The old movie, Build It and They Will Come. Build it and you can get there is more like it. So create this of yourself. Have this vision and then hold on to it. That's the thing. People will, as you grow up, you have these grand visions of your life and all these things that you want to do and all this fun and happiness that you're going to have until you graduate out of the school system, out of the education system, and you're faced with the reality. And if you went to college, probably the reality of a huge debt and student loans to boot, but you're faced with the reality of dollar bills. Got to have dollar bills and got to do something to get them and got to get a job to do that so that I can start paying off this debt. And then, of course, the things that we've learned over the years, especially in society today, is not the habit of saving, but the habit of spending. And we get a job and we start out with a salary of $25,000 a year or whatever it is. And each and every time, and we get comfortable there, we build a life there where we can, have certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Certain comforts that we enjoy, that we feel we, deserve, that we want to have. And we've built that around the monetary amount that we have coming into our life every year, every month, and every week. But we never look at that and say, okay, if I have this much amount, what could I live off of? And how much extra could I take and that I could save so that I could build something later, or that I could possibly take advantage of an opportunity later Because that's the thing, if you don't have some money available and an opportunity comes your way that you need a little bit of money, what can you do? You can't do anything. You can't even try to take advantage of that opportunity. Wholesale real estate, obviously, is all, the whole thing is built around the idea of not needing any money, which is awesome, and it is true. But when you need the money, you've got to get out there and make the money, and you go to get your job, but we don't think about saving and building the nest egg to give us that leapfrog effect into some sort of opportunity or better situation or whatever the case is. And then what ends up happening is now you get a raise, and now you're making $30,000 a year. You got an extra $5,000 a year. Do you end up living the same way and saying, hey, that's $5,000 a year I can save and make something happen with? No. What do? We run out and trade in our old car and get another newer car, and with a higher payment that's going to take up some of that money, and maybe we move to a bigger house. Maybe we start, sending our kids to a different school. Whatever the case is, we get extra money and we just figure out ways to spend it on more things that give us more pleasure right now. And that was the subject of my call that I hosted for a mentor of mine who does a morning training session called the Street Smart Business Calls every morning at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. And every now and then he gives us who listen in the opportunity to host a call. And I hosted one of these calls, and that was my subject matter, was pleasure now versus pleasure later. And the whole thing is everybody, not everybody, but most people in this world are looking for that pleasure now. We want to have everything out of that 10-year vision, out of that dream now. And so what we do is we say, well, my 10-year vision, I'm going to be able to travel to, Bora Bora for and stay for a month. Well, we go, I'm never going to be able to have that. And you sell out your dream because I don't see how that could ever happen. We'll never have the money to do that. So let's just take this little bit of money we have right now and go blow it on a 3-day weekend, 100 miles away at the lake camping or whatever, So we don't, sorry, got an itch on my mosquito bite. So we don't perpetuate that habit of saving, postponing our pleasures now, choosing to accept pain now, the pain and suffering of continuing to live as if we have a $25,000 a year salary, even though we're making 30 grand or 35 grand or 40 grand. Continue to live that way a little bit longer and postpone your pleasure later. And the next thing you know, you got $15,000 over there that you've been saving, or actually, if you got a $5,000 a year increase for 3 years, you would have you'd have $30,000 saved up just like that. And you could take that $30,000 and invest it in something that is giving you a return on your investment, that you have money coming in. Let's just say this is a real estate program. Let's just say we went out and you took that $30,000 and you said, okay, I have $30,000. I'm going to buy a rental property with this $30,000. I will have a loan, but because I'm have $30,000 to put down on it, I'll have a very small payment, and that'll create $500 a month of income coming into my house. Now, with $500 a month, you could say, okay, great, that's $500 a month. That pays pretty much all of my household bills every month. And we have an extra $500 a month now that we could live off of, that we could have some enjoyment. Or we could continue to save that a little bit longer and add that $500 a month, and there's another $6,000 at the end of the year. And so now you've got there's another $20,000 you have, and you could buy another house and do the same thing. And you have some more income that comes in at the end of the month. And the next thing you know, after you've bought in a few of these places, all of a sudden you have enough income coming in that equals the amount of income coming in from your job. And now you've achieved level one of financial freedom. In my mind, there's two levels to financial freedom. First, there's replacing my job. Okay. If you don't have to work now to get that money that you're surviving on, you've achieved a level of financial freedom because you don't have to work for your money. The money comes. You don't have to work for it. That's huge. That's big, huge. That buys you your most important commodity in this planet. That buys it back for you. That being your time. Time is your most important commodity, and it's running faster than ever and running out faster than ever. And than it ever has before in history. It just time just flies by. I can't believe we're only a month away from 2015 being half over. Is that crazy? And what's changed in your life from 6 months ago? Are you making more money? Do you have more savings? Do you have an idea for investing some of that money to create some passive income? Or are you maybe driving a nicer car? Or do you maybe have a bigger TV? Or, you know what I'm saying? Once you achieve that level of financial freedom where you basically replaced your job, is now the time to quit your job? You could. I mean, if you're completely satisfied with living off of that original, with your lifestyle from $25,000 a year, and you've got now $25,000 a year coming in, you could. I would suggest you wait until you get higher to where you have money for more savings so that you can continue investing and build more, because that's how you get financial freedom, is by creating what's called passive income. And that's money that comes to you, money that comes into your household, into your bank, into your mailbox, wherever it comes into, without you having to work for it. That's financial freedom. That's the very most simplest education thing right there. That would be financial freedom 101. What is financial freedom? It's the ability to have, be, or do anything you want without having to, it's basically the ability to choose to do whatever you want without having to work or depend on anyone else for income, for money. That's financial freedom. And how do you get it? By creating passive income, money that comes to you without you having to work for it. That's the only way that you can do it. And that's Financial Freedom 101. And that's a class that nobody's taken. And you can ask dozens of people on the street, hey, what's your definition of financial freedom? Yeah? How do you get it? And will you get that answer? Probably not. Probably not. Most people, what's your definition of financial freedom? Being a billionaire? I don't know. Well, how do you achieve financial freedom? I don't know. If I knew that, I'd do it. Most people just don't know how to do it. Wholesale real estate is a great way to start building towards financial freedom. You might have debt right now, and that's why you want wholesale. That's why you want to do something in wholesale real estate. Maybe you don't have debt right now. You just want more. You're just sick and tired of what you've got, as far as the job and the home life, and it's just so mundane and there's no excitement and all that, and you just want more out of life. With wholesale real estate, you have the opportunity to secure large chunks of cash without having to come out of pocket with large chunks of cash. You can literally wholesale a house with $10. We've done it. $100 is pretty much our standard, and sometimes we have to come out of pocket with 1,000 or even upwards of 5,000. One time we had to come out of pocket with $13,500 in order to do a deal, but we found the money. We got the money, and that's the thing. Once you have the opportunity in front of you, you'll figure it out, because that's how the mind works. You will figure it out. You just need to find the opportunity, but you have to be the right person to see the opportunity. That's where all of this Freedom Friday stuff comes in, and all of this, talking about the books and the self-development and becoming the right type of person and learning that and doing all of these things, understanding how the mind works. All of these things come into play as far as you being able to, first of all, find a deal, and secondarily, do whatever it takes to make sure that deal turns into a paycheck for you. Those are the little key elements that don't come in the real estate courses. The real estate courses give you a lot of great how. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. Go do this. Go do that. They give you a lot of great how, but they don't give you that core of achieving success with the program. And that core of achieving success with the program is you. You are the one that has to make it happen. You are the one that has to want it. You are the one that has to believe that you can do it. You are the one that has to have faith that whatever needs to happen is going to happen, that you're going to be able to do it to support your belief. You're the one that has to have the confidence in yourself to know that you will not choose to crack a beer and sit on the couch and turn on the game, but go out there and do what needs to be done to make it happen. To have the confidence in yourself to be able to talk to other people, because it is a relationship business, and talking to other people is unavoidable. You're going to have to talk to people, period, and a conversation. Even if you're flipping them in your underwear on your house, if you found a program where you can do that, there's still a point in time you got to pick up the phone and negotiate the contract with these people. You got to talk to people. So your confidence in your abilities of talking to people and reading people and understanding people and negotiating with people, all are the base elements of the core, which is why we have these Freedom Fridays, which is why we put this information out there on Fridays. And when people would come here and say, this is wholesale real estate training, why are you talking about self-development? Because it all starts with self-development, because it all starts with you. If you aren't the right person, you can be in the right place at the right time, and you're not going to make anything happen. That's the bottom line. You have to be the right person. And one of the things that I wanted to say before I wrap up here is that becoming the right person gets more and more difficult the older you become. So if you're my age or older, it's going to be a whole lot more difficult for you to transform yourself into the right person than it is for, the 20, 30-year-old who is not had so much ingrained negativity and wrong thinking pumped into their minds. It's just the way it is. One of the things that really, really helped me, I think, get to an accelerated level of becoming a better person to be able to start realizing grand success at what we're doing here. And when I say grand, I mean grand enough that I'm about out of debt, catching up with a lot of things, and being able to know that the bills are going to be paid every month. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't have to think about it. It's taken a long time for me to just get to that level. So, but what helped me a lot was these types of things right here, CDs, because this is a great one I just bought right here. Laws of Success on CD. Maybe the best $80 I ever spent. You can read books, and they're great. I'm not dissing reading books. You want to read books, but you can read books and you can get great ideas, great concepts, understand really great truths, change your thinking, but you're doing it strongly while you're reading the book. And it's great to get that information into your mind. But when you put the book down and you go out into the world, guess what happens very quickly? That new concept, even though you may have made a promise, I'm going to go out there all day long and I'm going to be positive. I'm going to smile all day long. Well, you know what? You're driving along down the road, you got the smile on your face, and the next thing you know, you're sitting at the stoplight and you start thinking of something else, and the smile goes away. And it might be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour. It might be the rest of the day before you realize, wow, I totally forgot to smile all day today. That's where the CDs come in, especially when you're out driving in your car. You've got this, you got nothing else going on. You got this information continually going into your mind so that it is all you're thinking about, and triggering other ideas. That's what's really awesome. It triggers other ideas to help you grow and advance in your business, your work, your job, whatever, your life, your relationships, all of these things, starts triggering ideas in your mind and keeps your mind constantly working in the areas where you want it to be working, in changing the old thought patterns and the old ways of thinking and getting out of those ruts, so to speak, and creating what's called neural pathways, new ways of your mind working. And like I said, the older you get, the harder it is to do those things on your own. You can read the book, but when you put it down and you leave the book behind, you have a tendency to start falling right back into your old ways. I highly suggest you grab CDs and have them, or download things on your MP3 or your Walkman or your phone or wherever it is that you listen to things on your earphones. And instead of listening to music, and I'm not saying listening to music is bad, listening to music is a great thing, but instead of listening to it all the time or listening to talk radio where you're getting fed with more negativity, put some of this stuff in your listening devices and start listening to this stuff. Start having good information being put into your mind more often than not. And the next thing you know, you'll start thinking that way. And the next thing you'll know, things will be changing. You will start seeing things differently. You will start doing things differently. You will start thinking things differently. And things will start happening for you differently. The next thing you know, your boss comes over and says, I don't know what's come over you, but man, in the past few months, you've really picked it up. Your work has just improved so much. Yeah, I think it's time we give you a raise. I mean, things like that literally happen. Or your boss might come in and say, you know what? I don't know what's happened to you, man, but you've really been doing a lot of good work around here, but it's scary. You're showing everybody up around here. We're gonna have to let you go. Well, how can that be a good thing? Well, it's a good thing because you know what? You probably didn't like that job in the first place. You've probably been thinking for years, God, I wish I could just quit this job and do something different. And so, guess what? Your wish is your command. You wished you could get out of that job. You wish you could do something else. And what the universe delivered to you, you get fired. But it's a good thing because now you have the opportunity forced upon you to go out there and do something better that you can enjoy and have more fun and make more money and be more prosperous with. So everything happens for a reason. Might seem bad at first, but it always turns out to be something good, because if something bad happens to you, the purpose of that bad thing happening to you is for you to be able to do and achieve something better. Isn't that a great thing? So everything that bad happens to you isn't bad at all. It's really just the basis for you to be able to do something better. I love that concept. That's great. Once you get that in your mind, you start looking at the bad things, going, hey, well, why did this bad thing happen? Then you can start analyzing the bad thing. Why did this bad thing happen? You figure out why this bad thing happened. You go, well, you know what? That's a bad thing I did. I need to not do that bad thing, and then this bad thing won't happen to me, and then that'll open the door for good things to happen. Because if I don't do that bad thing, I have to be doing something different. So maybe I'm doing something good instead of something bad, and then that'll create something good happening. Crazy, right? All right. Well, I guess I am probably a little crazy, but that's it for today, guys. Freedom Friday is at an end. Go out there, have a great climax to this strong session, and we will see you back here on New Op Day, no doubt about it. And we'll get into some more great stuff about wholesale real estate. Oh, and if you want, if you want to join the team, even if you're in another city, whatever it is, we're looking to expand. We have room, and we are being very, very successful right now. It's a great place to join, and it's free. Happy climax.